What? Your body has to.
He wants to see water turn into that.
No, if you split water, you're forming hydrogen gas, oxygen gas.
Oh, what do you do?
So you don't know, you're forming in your body, you're forming water. You see it. Okay, so what somebody said, the one that you actually, so what do you actually think when you think about this? What did you say the word was? A neutralization reaction, which is between what and what?
Rohan.
An acid and base, right? So if I take an acid plus a base,
Rohan.
I'm going to form water plus that salt. Okay? So the whole point is to do what to the acid by using the base. So when we say neutralize, what does that mean?
Break it, you
Mix it.
Stabilize. This is stable, that's stable. What's unique about these two things? So we didn't really talk about this yesterday, but what's something about acids and bases that are too strong, they're considered to be what?
Dangerous.
So sometimes on the label you'll see a hand that looks like a skull. These guys are corrosive, all right? And also highly reactive, right? So therefore, they're considered to be harmful to us. So if we neutralize them, we're going to form this stuff that doesn't do much, and we form that. So the way in which we know that they're neutral is we test for the presence of this and this. All right? So we'll go back to the old concept of if you work at a pool, it's necessary to know something about the water.
How much chlorine?
Well, you have to know that, but you also know that people bathe in there, which alters the what of the water.
Stability?
Okay, well, you have, so let's do it this way. You want to compare acidity to alcoholic salinity. All right? So, all right? So if you compare acidity, so when we look at that, all right? So that means that you want to compare this to this. So therefore, if this is if you think of it as a teeter-totter, all right? If I have this like that, that means I have more what? Okay, so I have more hydroxide, all right? So more and less H, which means that the substance tends to be more what? No.
Okay.
Okay? So in other words, the substance technically is alkaline. Whereas if I do it and I have equal amounts of H plus to OH, all right, it's neutral. All right, so in other words, the concentration of H plus is equal to the concentration of OH minus. All right, which means that they should be equal. All right. Now, whether it's the skin on your body, the liquid of mucus in your lungs, or your blood, everything has to maintain what we call this neutralization. Okay. If your blood goes off kilter, what sort of things might happen to you?
You might die.
Okay, you could have issues with your blood pressure. You could have issues with with the organs. You can have issues with how simple little things like how hard your heart will beat or how much you breathe, right? So when you get sick, for example, your H and OH balances go up, and you end up with what I call respiratory acidosis, which is another way of saying you have it cold. All right? Yeah, you end up, so if you have respiratory acidosis, usually in your lungs you build up a layer of what? The mucus. Okay? Well, if you're trying to breathe and you got this layer of mucus in you, that means that it's going to be harder to breathe. In other words, you're going to feel tight in your chest. Okay? So you've upset the apple cart. So when we look at that, we look at what is the difference in what we call the power of hydrogen, otherwise known as
hydrogen.
Power of hydrogen. Take the first two letters of each of those power to hydrogen. pH. Okay. So when we look at this, okay, we're gonna look at something called the pH. All right. So in other words, all right. So when you look at this, you're basically testing. All right, which is basically, yeah, that's power. Okay, something called little p, big H, called pH. All right. So if you work at a pool, one of the things you do is you test for the pH. Right. So if the pH is off, that means that the balance of the water is off. Right. Same thing with your water you drink. If the pH is off in your water, some of you will have.
Can you tell me in the one world
Yep.
versus like
What causes people to hallucinate?
Say it again.
LSD.
yeah,
What
that's a
causes
cool.
people to hallucinate?
LSD.
Really.
Shrooms.
What are you doing at home?
What?
Our family?
Huh?
No, Mom, I want to go.
Any number of things.
Why does that happen? What happens inside the body?
It's your blood cells.
God.
It happens if you're
Blood cells pop.
Wait, so what?
Hmm?
Shrooms.
What is with you and drugs? I guess this is what you practice in the back of your house that your dad doesn't know about? Or what?
My dad
Huh?
we cultivate this, me and my dad.
Oh, yeah.
We'll farm that up.
So choose whatever.
This guy be serious.
I get it. Okay. You'll learn about it in grade 12. All right, so here's where the math comes in. The math, yeah. All right, so have you guys done log?
Yeah. Oh my God. I just had my test. Oh yeah.
That shit's solid. That shit's solid.
Okay.
It's always Big Ten.
Always. Okay. So,
I just played with your minds. Code inception.
all right. So, we'll go to the pool right here. When you do your pH at the pool, what numbers do you usually get?
I don't know, the one that looks in the middle, the color. I always look at the colors.
The colors, and the colors mean what?
Like, if it's dark red, that means it's too high, and if it's like really light, that means it's too low.
Okay.
Somewhere in the
But it
middle.
doesn't tell you the number.
It does, but I don't pay attention
Oh,
to
you
the
don't say
numbers.
that. Okay, so let me introduce you to the numbers.
God, what's that?
Okay, so you guys are required to know something called a
Were
pH
logarithms useful?
scale. Alright, so this is a pH scale. Alright, well, the pH scale is based on the logarithm of the power base 10 out of that. Alright, so let's go back and look at this. We're going to assume that in order to be neutral, you have to use lucky number 7. Okay, so what lucky number 7 means is that you have 7 here and 7 there. 7 plus 7 makes 14. Okay, which means the lowest you can have is you can have 0. Okay? Which means that if you're balanced, you have equal amounts, so therefore the middle is going to be the number 7. So therefore, if you're less than 7, you're going to be acidic or basic. Alright, and if you're greater than 7, you're going to be
7. Think about 7.
What's so funny about 7?
Alright? So. Alright? So if you're between anything less than 7, you're going to be acidic. Anything greater, you're going to be basic or alkaline. Alright? And it's all based on how much of that you have. So therefore, if I'm going from 7 down this way, what does that mean in terms of this equation?
I have to come here.
Less. Less.
Getting at the
More. More hydrogen.
More hydrogen. Good. So in other words, the
That is what it says more hydrogen. It's getting more hydrogen.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent.
So
Okay.
honored.
And if you're going this way, you can say two things. So you can say the concentration of
Hydrogen is going down.
H plus is decreasing, thank you, sir. Or you could say the concentration of,
It's staying the same. No.
okay, concentration of
OH is way.
OH
Oh,
is increasing, okay? Alright, but
Okay.
everything is based on how much you have here. Alright? Now, let's put two numbers on here.
It's called magic. Flippity. Magic.
Okay.
I'm not getting internet.
If 7 represents equal amounts, so if 7 equals the, what I call the teeter-totter being equal, in other words, is basically equal numbers of H plus and basically equal numbers of the OH, which means essentially you have what molecule?
What?
Yeah, if you have equal amounts of H plus and OH, you're really talking about water. All right, in other words, that would be your definition of a neutralization when it hits 7. Okay, if you are a little bit lower, a little bit higher, that means you're not neutral. You're almost there. So if 7 is the neutral, how much stronger or weaker is 7 compared, or 6 compared to 7, or 8 compared to? Very good.
Yeah,
Now you
because
said
it's
you know
hot.
what's going on.
It's Richter scale. Oh, it's a good. Oh!
Okay.
Can you say it again?
The base right? So,
Wait, what? Yeah.
Acoustics. No,
It's the
that's
same thing as like the Richter scale.
the earthquakes, right?
Oh, is it?
It's fine.
That's what the law
Big deal.
Oh, that's why his dad equals log.
It's just because it's based in.
okay, so if you are pH of 6 and you're comparing it to 7, that means you have a change of 10 times,
Oh, 7.
all right? Not just one, it is one unit, but it's one pH unit based on the log, right? And the log is based on the principle of base 10, okay?
If there were 2, it would be 100 times, right?
Right, so if I'm at 5 and say 4, and I want to compare it to 7, that means
Means 1,000.
that's 1,000 times difference, okay? So as the closer you get down here, the stronger it gets. Right? So could I have, so here's the hypothetical question for you. Alright, could I have a solution that is HCl here and a solution that's HCl there?
Well, it depends on how.
Hold on, don't say it, let the rest of them process
What's the
this.
question?
I don't
Okay.
know the definition.
So, suppose I have a solution, and one is pH 4 and the other one's pH 6. Okay, is it possible for them both to be the same acid?
I mean, go ahead.
Alright, so is it possible that they both have the same? Okay, so let me ask you a different way. Okay, you go to the grocery store to buy orange juice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so is the orange juice you buy in the refrigeration unit, are they all exactly the same?
No.
No, they're not.
They're the same, but
Okay,
different
so
labels.
is it possible that, say, the orange juice could be of different pHs, but it's still orange juice?
Yes.
Right, just means it's different what?
Companies.
Different.
So, in other words, you compare Tropicana to No Frills, what's the major difference between the two? What? No, I think in terms of the solution, what's the major difference? Why is it, why is Tropicana more expensive than the no name?
Concentration.
Concentration, in other words, it's got more what in it? More oranges, right? Which means No Frills has probably got more water. So, is it possible to have the same solution and it has a pH of 4 and a pH of 6?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it is. Just means this one has more what?
Water.
More water than that. Okay? So, right? That make sense?
Yes,
Wait,
sir.
so-
I hope. Okay,
I
so.
didn't hear about the ice.
The one that's further away from
Four
Don't
arms.
simple.
Alright? So, if,
This is basic.
Yeah, not this, but
Turn around fix. Yes, Manny.
about why I need children. Oh, and you can get that in your.
yeah, hang on.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, so, that's, alright, so you have this acid, so therefore you automatically know it's gonna be where? Okay, mole really means how much of it you have, alright? So in other words, you have a certain amount of acid dissolved in water, okay, because acid's always good in water. So, if you have this, alright, scientifically, we don't write it that way, we're gonna write it as, alright, 1.0 times 10 to the minus, what? Okay, so it's gonna be 1.0 times 10 to the 4, and I'm just gonna write the big letter M. Alright, so that this represents, alright, so for you guys, let me introduce you to my short form. That square bracket means
What up?
concentration. Alright, so this equals, alright, the H plus concentration. So therefore, how do I determine pH?
on the scale.
Okay, so you basically say, okay, pH equals minus the log base 10 of H plus, which basically equals minus the log of base 10 of 1.0 times 10 to the minus 4.
Yes, sir, we get all
Okay,
of this.
alright, so this part's easy. So,
Easy.
alright, so I'm going to give you,
I didn't get that.
alright, so let's start eliminating some stuff you don't know or don't need.
Everything.
Okay.
Everything.
The one, so let's do, okay, you don't need that because one is one, okay? So all you're left with is this. Right? So let's get rid of all that. All you're left with is that. Okay?
Therefore,
So
the
if you're doing log
Yep.
of base 10 to 10 to minus whatever, well, this is a lower number, that's a higher number. Cross them out.
What?
Wait, I'm
Yes.
Whoa, how'd you make that? Can you repeat that? Like,
Okay.
the whole question? The whole thing.
Shut up.
Okay. There's a little number. And there is a bigger number.
Oh, equals 1, yeah.
Okay? So, because you're doing base 10, alright, you already are taking into consideration that. So I'm just going to cross that out. So really, all you have left is a whole number, which is minus 4. Alright? But you have a negative number there, and negative makes
Positive.
okay, so therefore negative equal the positive, so there's your pH.
What's my pH?
Plus 4.
So it's 1,000 times
Okay,
more
so that means that it's
Yeah, that's right.
sitting down here at the acidic side, which means that if you're looking at this, does it have a lot of hydrogen or a little hydrogen?
A lot of it.
Got a lot. Or
So it's 1,000 times more acidic
Okay.
than water?
as a gas, yes, not as an ion.
Did you separate hydrogen?
Otherwise you'd be a very explosive guy.
But once I got
Okay?
Oxygen from water and you get
Okay.
Shut up.
Someone needs to get a picture. Goose.
Okay, sure.
Goose, Portugal.
You got another drug question? If you drank water with a pH of
4.
you probably burn inside your yeah.
Your esophageal line.
So you wouldn't be drinking water with a pH of 4 though.
You like burn
Right?
out.
It just depends. So let me give you an example. The water that rains down upon you from the sky has got a pH of 5. Okay? So if you think about that, if it's hitting your skin over a repeated period of time, what would it do to your skin?
That's what,
It would start to
That's what
wear
it's
away.
burn.
Okay? If you happen to be a statue sitting out in the middle of the school for a period of 10 years, what would happen? It would start to break down because it would slowly over a period of time.
How long would I have to sit in the rain for?
For you? A long time.
How long?
So you can't stay out in the rain?
I got a couple of weeks.
And my skin will
Yeah. Well, no, you start to see your skin peel off.
There's
Just-
faster way of going.
It would just flake off.
There's faster.
Dry it.
Disgusting.
Okay? It's the same thing if you're washing your hands in vinegar right after for a period of time, or you're doing stuff where you clean stuff with vinegar. Vinegar is really, really weak, right? But after you take your hands out, your hands will be dry. So you're actually starting to burn the skin off the vinegar. Alright? One of the ways in which if you were to go to a spa for the day and they were going to tell you they're going to exfoliate you, they will actually, they're burning your skin. So what they do is they would take something like oat. So I know, ladies, you guys can go to the Shoppers Drug Mart, you can buy cleansers that contain oatmeal in them, right? Well, oatmeal is a little higher on the alkaline scale. It will actually, no, it will moisturize, but it'll also peel off your skin too. So it will, because your pH of your skin's around 7, right? So if it goes, you have something at a pH of 9, that's 100 times more alkaline. It's going to burn your skin. Are you going to notice it?
I can't eat oatmeal anymore?
No, you're not going to notice it because oatmeal is relatively what? It's weak, okay? But it's still got a pH of 9,
So is
which
that a
means
bad
that
It's gonna work over time.
it's going to work on your
I never eat
skin.
You can eat oatmeal.
Okay?
So it does
Same
work.
thing if they tell you to put cucumber underneath your eyes, you got bags or tea underneath, all right? It's because it's got a different pH, so what it does is it changes the dynamics of
And
the
lemon juice
skin.
and sugar.
Okay?
Lemon juice and
That's
sugar.
why they
You guys never knew that you could use that as a way of figuring out your beauty secrets for why you might need no chemical nomenclature when you're doing going to your
Oh my god, I
shop.
got the answer to my
Yeah. Sir?
One more.
Yeah.
I'm stretching.
Oh, you're stretching. No questions?
No with the makeup.
Oh no, who hit him?
You ready for makeup?
Wait, what?
You hit him?
NYP. I didn't even know you. What?
Oh, okay. Alright. So,
You got it? I thought you were just bleeding. That's so true. Mom told me like, what did you do with your last job?
Well, you really should have some
Yo, pew.
writing paragraphs, so when you end it, you go back.
Roll on, let's go. Drum
And you
battle.
put the title down. Put the title down.
I'll do that. Do it. This is what
No, right.
do anything.
Shailen's just crying.
alright. So, you got an OH concentration of 10 to the minus 10. Alright? And you got to find its pH.
Wait, if a substance has a weight of 10, yeah. 10, negative
Sorry,
10.
It's not?
Okay, so
Let's
let's
face it,
let's think about this, alright? Alright, so
1.
pH
It's 1.
refers to,
It's 1.
okay, that, of hydrogen, okay? right? So log the base 10 of hydrogen plus, okay? So if you have 10 to the minus 10, all right, and that's the OH concentration, how do you figure out that concentration? Well, let's go back over to the lovely. Okay. Remember I said to you that if you have a neutral reaction, right? Like so, you have what number?
7 and 7.
You have 7 and 7. 7 plus 7 equals
14.
14. Well, if you have 7 and 7, that means the substance you have is what?
Neutral.
No. What substance you have?
Water.
Water, right? So, so water, all right, really has equal amounts of OH plus H plus, which means 7 plus 7. So the highest your scale can ever go is 14. All right. So if it's got equal amounts of these two, all right, and the highest number is 14, if I have 10 to the minus 10, okay, how much do I have here?
3. Wait, I got 10.
What's 14 subtract 10?
4.
Okay, I have 10 to the minus 4.
Oh, get it.
Okay, 10 plus 4 equals 14, because, all right, so therefore, if I have 10 to the minus 10, that must mean my H plus has got to be 10 to the minus 4, because it has to equal 10 to the minus 14, because that's the concentration of what? Okay? So therefore, my pH is going to be what?